I so greatly appreciate being here with each and every one of you this morning. I've looked forward to this all week. I may be showing my age this morning, but the other day I was listening to some old Burt Bacharach songs, and he has a song called "What's It All About, Alfie?" Dionne Warwick sang it. Some of the lyrics are, "What's it all about, Alfie? Is it just for the moment we live? What's it all about when you sort it out, Alfie? Are we meant to take more than we give? Or are we meant to be kind?" And the song goes on to ask more questions, and it has a deeper message. But to me, the song is asking, do you know who you are? If you ask someone this question, they may give you a wrong answer. They may say, "What do you mean? Who do I think I am? You're looking at me." They think that's all they are because they're so focused on their physicality, their human form. You may say, "I'm just Anne," or Kenneth, or Deb, or Betsy, or Michael. But that isn't who you are. This is simply the label your parents stuck on you when you were young. And if I'm honest, I can only see your body when I look at you. I can't see your mind. I can't see your emotions. I really can't see anything but just your body. And the same goes for you when you look at me. When you listen to me talk, you experience my mind. But you also realize that this is infinite mind articulating itself through me. And when you talk, infinite mind is articulating through you. You may observe me loving, feeling, and expressing joy. And this is just the divine flow of love and creativity expressing itself as my emotions. I may have a healthy body. I may have a brilliant mind, or I may have a wide range of feelings. But this isn't me. I'm using all this equipment in my mind, body, and emotions. But these are not me. They're mine. I say often, I am not my mind. I have my mind. I am not my body. I have my body. And I'm not my emotions. I have my emotions. And the I that has them also has the power to control them. The greatest realization is the truth that because I have my body, I have the power to control my body. It's mine. It's not me. I can drift apart from it, speak the word of life to it, discipline it, control it, love it. Knowing who you are and the power within you is fundamental to knowing that it's not something extraneous to you. The power within you is God at the point of you. It's hard to see this when we think of God as a person upstairs or that great man-like figure on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel in Rome, a bearded, muscular creature reaching down and touching the hand of man. It's hard to see the truth in this context. You must be willing to let go of this limited God. Destroy the God of our intellect, says Emerson, and experience the presence of God. The power within you is the activity of God. It's the primal power being. Discovering this power is our birthright. You're never really coming to understand yourself or life until you discover this tremendous depth within you, which is the presence of God acting as you. In the Bible, this indwelling power is spoken of as a child, and if you can use it, it's the birth of the child. This is a metaphor that's used 20 times in the Bible. The most famous one probably is when Prince Isaiah says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government should be upon his shoulders, and his name will be called," what? Wonderful. Metaphysically, this is not Jesus. This is the divine child, which you are. Jesus experienced it, discovered it, and revealed it. And knowing this wonderful self-image within us is a heritage for us. Once you establish a sense of oneness with this inner power, you've allowed it to take over your responsibilities for you. You will direct and govern all your affairs, from the greatest to the least, without effort, mistakes, or trouble. You should call his name Wonderful. It's the wonder child, the Christ within you, your own child of God's self. If someone were experiencing this wonder self instead of their limited self, they'd live in a wonderful world. It would be a wonderful experience. And you might say, I certainly wouldn't describe my present experience as all that wonderful. It may be because you're emphasizing the difficulty, the darkness, and the confusion that comes into the lives of all of us from time to time. You may say, but life is so hard. Is it? It seems hard, perhaps, because you may be trying to live something you're not, and to be something you think is part of your life that is put on you by the thoughts or impressions of others. Are you trying to live up to the images imposed on you by your parents? Maybe by society? Maybe by the whole race consciousness? Who are you? A person will often describe their experience as telling you what they are. They say, I'm sick and weak. I'm tired. I'm angry. I'm poor. Are these what you are? These are experiences that come into our life. We all have these experiences from time to time. But the important thing is to know that there is something in you that transcends them. There's a whole self. I'm not sick. I'm a person experiencing a temporary challenge of sickness. I'm not angry. I'm a person who is having a little difficulty, a little challenge with my emotions at the moment. But they're my emotions. I'm in control, or at least I can be. I'm not poor. I'm a person experiencing difficulty in my financial affairs at the moment. But I have control over what comes into my life. Therefore, I can decree for myself, I am rich. I can project that consciousness to draw that experience to me. Many of the goals we set for ourselves are images of what we're trying to become. Many of them are influenced by the subtle messages of the world. None of us are completely free from this influence, but even if you succeed at becoming this image, you may still fall short. You're already designed by somebody. It's written in the fiber of your being. Sometimes it takes a lot of courage to find our identity. As Thoreau said, march to the beat of your own drummer. Have the courage to be you. As an infant, you didn't have to design how many hairs to grow on your head. You didn't have to design your form and shape, how tall you'd be, or the color of your eyes, because it's all written in the fabric of your genes. You can look anywhere and see the design. Wherever you look at the world around you, you see design in a snowflake, in a butterfly, in a stone, right down to each atom. The whole universe is one cosmic design, and it works perfectly. Jesus tells us to look at the lilies of the field who live and work without a trace of anxiety. But when it comes to our particular lives, we sometimes say, I have so much to worry about. And oh, how we worry. Our jobs and careers, the economy, the weather, our love relationships, our children, growing old, and the threat of war. Some worry about whether they will ever get married. Others worried that they did get married. Some worry whether they're attractive, and others worry about what they are attracting. Exuding the energy of our limited self, they attract the wrong people to them. And then they wonder why they don't get along. The first job is to be yourself and lean into the wonder self within you. With this self in control, you can't help attracting the right and perfect relationships. Being your wonder self breaks the hypnotic spell you may be under, the illusion that you're only human. We've all been hypnotized by our parents, by our own human mind, by our past experiences, which tell us you're inferior, you're no good, you're a failure. And you may argue, nobody knows the trouble I've seen. But more importantly, you don't know you. There's a wonder self within you. It's the reality that was your key to survival in every stage of life. It's your power to live a happy and successful life today. It's never with you. It is you. Paul said, Christ in you, your hope of glory. We use these words often, sometimes taking them too lightly, perhaps. In the later years of his life, Charles Fillmore was once asked, what do you consider to be the most important teaching of the Bible? And without hesitation, he said, Christ in you, your hope of glory. But again, this is not Jesus in you. Many of us have a strong fundamentalist background and find it difficult to settle in our minds between Jesus and Christ. Christ is not Jesus. Christ is a divine level within each of us, the God self, and the point where God becomes you and you become God. So the point is that Jesus is the one who discovered this Christ within himself, who found Christ as a divine dimension of everyone. If you ever question this, remember he said, all these things that I do, you do too, if you can have faith. He didn't work miracles except apart from everyday life itself. He performed seeming miracles under the authority of spiritual law. Christ in you is the divine depth of you, is the divine level within you, which Jesus demonstrated is the divine level in all of us. When you accept yourself at this level, at the level of your divinity, you walk and work in its light. As Thoreau wrote, you will come to live with the license of a higher order of beings. There is a powerful influence that keeps us from being ourselves, referred to by Paul in a statement that has been largely misunderstood and misapplied. Remember, he said, be not conformed to this world, be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. In our limited human perception, a person may turn to change by wearing a mask to become what the world is trying to conform them to be. There's a better translation of Paul's words that gives this scripture a powerful new meaning. Don't let the world around you force you into its mold. Let God remold you from within. Don't let the world around you force you into its mold. Don't let people seek to conform you to certain things. Let God remold your mind from within. Become moldable, pliable, and changeable, but listen within to that still, small voice, the voice of your inner divine self. You might ask, why do we conform to the world, to what is in it? Why do we look at the styles that are in vogue for the day and make very sure that we keep up with the styles? Why do we look at the things that have been done in the world and assume that's what should be done and pattern our lives after those things? Well, I think one reason is our insecurity, a lack of awareness of our divine uniqueness, a lack of a sense of our worthiness. Maxwell Maltz, who wrote the book Psycho-Cybernetics, has a statement that has always stuck with me. He says, if you're able to take a living breath, if you walk in the world, if you're a part of the atmosphere around you, then you are worthy. You're worthy. So many people feel unworthy going through all their lives, feeling unworthy of better things, worthy of relationships, worthy of health, worthy of prosperity. They have conditioned themselves or have been conditioned to some limiting concept, perception, or pattern that they assume is what life should be. Life is good. Do not conform to this world's limiting conceptions. Individuality comes from the root word indivisible and cannot be divided. You are an individual expression of God, a complete manifestation. You have something to give the world that no one else can give in exactly the same way. So the important thing is to do what you can with what you have right where you are. The words of Theodore Roosevelt. Many people think of this wonder self, this Christ self, this God self in you as something of the future. But something you achieve when you reach the top of the mountain and achieve full Christ consciousness, then you'll have this great awareness of your wonder self. Well, here's a news flash. You don't have to be a perfect expression to benefit from your inner power. You don't have to be perfect before expressing the fundamentals of truth. You only realize you're perfect in potential and see the possibilities. The possibility of the God self, the possibility of wholeness. It's always present. The whole of you is present, even in the part of you. As Eric Butterworth said, there is an allness in our eachness. You may feel you are insufficient sometimes, but you are an all-sufficiency always present within you. It's not something that has to be put on, not something that you have to wait for God to give you. God has already given this to you, and it's all that he can ever give you. Don't expect anything more from God but the light to see this within yourself, in the innermost sanctum of your being. You have the allness of divine potential always present. The power to heal, the power to be healed, the power to prosper others and to prosper yourself, the power of light and guidance, always present, always in you. It's not putting something in, but removing the mask you put on to conform to the world. Remove the mask and exercise the courage to be you. And so this is. Amen.